Yayah Jammeh's loss to Adama Barrow typified a sweeping trend in Africa in which the ruling president loses to the opposition. The undisputed latest is Ghana, where Mahama handed over to the incumbent president graciously. Yayah Jammeh is the third in West Africa behind Teodoro Obiang of Equatorial Guinea and Idris Deby of Chad. They are among the 10 most notorious African leaders with insatiable lust for power. They are trailing Robert Mugabe of Zimbabwe and Equatorial dos Santos, who are not in a hurry to relinquish power. An inventory of the character of some of these African leaders who, by one way or the other, have imposed themselves on the people and extend their tenure even when they are not wanted by a majority of the people they govern, exposes the lack of understanding, the tenet of democracy and leadership etiquette. This attitude, political analysts believe, makes a mockery of democracy and put a question mark on the whole process of democratization on the continent. Countries in which the sit-tight scenarios have played out in recent times and have led to forceful removal of their leaders include Libya, Egypt, Tunisia, Burkina Faso, and recently the Gambia.
Ghana, we now have freedom.
Africa wants a freedom. Africa must be free.
The President Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana, who led his country to independence from Britain in 1957 and contributed towards the liberation of other African countries from the colonialists, attempted to hold on to power for over a decade. Nkrumah was elected president by declaring his party, CPP, as the only legal party to participate in elections and planned to perpetuate himself in power, but was overthrown in a military coup while on a visit to China in 1966 after ruling for 9 years. Zimbabwe is another example of a country where its leader, President Robert Mugabe, has been in power since the Southern African country, which was called Rhodesia, gained independence in 1980. Mugabe's wife even boasted that her husband will not relinquish power until he is 100 years old. Mugabe is 93 years old.
My country, Zimbabwe, is the innocent victim of their spiteful sanctions imposed by the United States.
In Nigeria, a president is allowed 2 terms of 4 years each. But under President Olusegun Obasanjo, at the twilight of his 8 years, an attempt was made to extend his rule with a botched alteration of the Constitution.
I believe that this is what God Almighty has ordained for me and for my beloved country.
In most cases, the leaders connive with some political elites and the parliament to achieve their objectives. That was exactly what triggered the constitutional crisis in Burkina Faso. Some of these African leaders who turned their countries into fiefdom and maintained the status have ended up in some sort of seat-tight dictators. Some of these dictators are Robert Mugabe of Zimbabwe, who has been in power since 1980, Denis Sassou Nguesso of Republic of Congo, who has been in power since 1997, Eritrea's Isaias Afwerki since 1991, Chad's Idris Deby since 1990, Sudan's Umar al-Bashir since 1989, Swaziland's King Mswati III since 1989, Uganda's Yoweri Museveni since 1986, Cameroon's Paul Biya since 1982, Angola's Jose Eduardo dos Santos since 1979, Equatorial Guinea Teodoro Obiang since 1979, and Gambia's Yayah Jammeh since 1994. The Gambia has been plunged into a constitutional crisis following refusal of President Yayah Jammeh to relinquish power to President-elect Adama Barrow.
They feel that once they are out of power, they will be investigated, their corrupt practices will be revealed, and so they don't feel safe. And that is why sometimes you find the leaders start to have what you call negotiations.
The big question is, why do some African leaders go out to subvert the same constitution they have vowed to protect?
It is the relics of the whole regime, or old order. Because in most African environments, what you have is monarchy. And this culture of monarchy does not really agree with democracy.
African countries lack strong institutions to make sure that strong personalities like the presidents don't overcome these institutions.
What can African people do to checkmate these leaders that might still be nursing the ambition of perpetuating themselves in office?
For some of them who feel that without them the country cannot survive, it's a fallacy, and they should not be coerced.
Political watchers are apprehensive that the Burkina Faso example may spread like a hurricane, and perchance the fate that befell Muammar Gaddafi of Libya may be waiting at the next bend for the seat-tied and unrepentant African leaders. Ijeoma, Osamor, AIT News, Abuja.